Tachita floated down to the office with intent, silently observing everything around her. On her way, she noticed Jason, Emily, and Sanjo coming up the stairs from lunch. From the top of the stairs, Tachita recognized Orion, of course, being a fifth-year companion, and Nova, who was fairly new. However, she felt suspicion regarding Nocto, who didn't seem to be who he claimed. Tachita, one of the oldest companions on campus, would be the only one to recognize this. The group of friends were laughing about something as they reached the top of the stairs. Tachita, seizing an opportunity, made an excuse and bumped directly into Nocto. "Oh, my apologies," Tachita said smoothly, addressing the students. "Don't be late for class." Nocto blinked and responded, "It's my fault for not paying attention." The students nodded and continued on their way, still in high spirits. Tachita watched them go. She was left with questions. Although uncertain about Nocto, she had gathered new information to report to Professor Silvestri. She wasn't sure when she would tell him no. Professor Silvestri stood at the front of the classroom, watching students and their AI companions enter. He greeted some of them politely, trying to take note of their names. He noticed Jason and Sanjo, with Nova and Orion following them, and saw that they were first-year friends. Within himself, he felt young again, surrounded by fresh faces and new energy. The last students were arriving when Tachita returned with a tray of papers. The room was buzzing with the anticipation of a new class. Jason glanced at Tachita. That one can carry much heavier objects than the other AI companions. Curious, he turned to Nova. "Can you carry that much?" Nova was about to answer when Professor Silvestri began to get the class's attention. "Welcome, everyone," Professor Silvestri said warmly. "I see we have some new faces this year. I'm Professor Silvestri, and this is Tachita, my AI companion." He gestured to Tachita, who floated beside him with a subtle glow. Jason raised his hand, a little hesitant. "Excuse me, Professor Silvestri? How strong is Tachita? I noticed she can carry a lot more than other AI companions." Silvestri smiled. "Ah, yes. Tachita is designed to handle heavier tasks. Each AI companion has different strengths and capabilities tailored to their learned abilities." Sanjo leaned in, intrigued. "That's really cool. How long have you been working with Tachita?" Before Silvestri could answer, Tachita floated forward and spoke in a calm tone. "Professor Silvestri, I have completed the task you assigned." Silvestri nodded, his expression serious. "Thank you, Tachita." He addressed the class again. "We'll get started shortly, so come on and get settled, guys." Jason and Sanjo exchanged curious glances, but settled into their seats as instructed. Professor Silvestri began the class by surveying the room, his eyes moving over the students and their AI companions. "All right, class," Silvestri started, his tone dismissive of formalities. "I'm Professor Silvestri, and I teach communication. Around here, we do things a bit differently. Normally, you'd rely on the internet for distant communication, but that's not an option here." He leaned back against his desk, his attitude relaxed and informal. "First years need money, right? So I'm going to put you to work. You'll be working in groups to put up posters for your dorm's respective athletic teams. Laser tag is the most popular sport around here." He scanned the room, his gaze settling on Sanjo. "Socio, right?" he asked, having remembered the dorm but not the name. Sanjo hesitated, shyly looking at the floor. "Yes, my name is Sanjo," he mumbled. "Speak up, Sanjo," Silvestri urged, his tone forceful. Tachita floated closer, her presence amplifying the pressure on Sanjo. "Sanjo," Sanjo repeated, louder this time. Silvestri's eyes lit up. Good. You're my star player, right? Did so well in orientation." He patted Sanjo on the back, causing him to jump anxiously, not used to physical contact or being the center of attention. The separate dorms are just for fun, but let's be real. A shy guy like you shouldn't be in socio. It's completely random. He turned his attention to Jason. "You Jason, right? What an amago chump," Silvestri said with a smirk. "Not very imaginative to get shot by Sanjo, is it?" Jason, trying to keep his composure, took the posters handed to him by Tachita. But as he stared down at them, Silvestri's voice started to trail and echo away. The room seemed to go white for Jason, and he felt a warm trickle from his nose. Blood dripped onto his desk. As the students went to Jason for the posters, one girl screamed, drawing Silvestri and Tachita over. Silvestri rolled his eyes, pushed the girl aside. "Relax, you're too sensitive," he said, glancing at her for a moment. Nova, who had been paying attention to Professor Silvestri until this point, finally noticed Jason's condition. Professor Silvestri shooed the other students away from Jason. "Go hand out the posters," he instructed them, his tone firm. He turned to Tachita. "Let's get Jason to the nurse," he said, guiding the nearly comatose Jason out of the classroom. Professor Silvestri guided Jason down the hall, away from the students who were eagerly planning where to put up their posters. Most of them had no idea where the best spots would be. Sanjo, however, was concerned for Jason and watched as Silvestri led him away. Orion hovered next to Sanjo, sensing something might be going on. Down the hall, Silvestri gently pushed Jason along. Jason went with it, too dazed to resist. Silvestri looked at Tachita, who made eye contact with him, and then at Nova, who was hovering close and paying attention to him. Silvestri looked back at Tachita. Tachita was as polite as possible with her invitation. "Nova, perhaps it would be best if you reported this to the office." Nova was initially unwilling. "But I should stay with Jason," Silvestri reassured her with a confident demeanor, shaking Jason a little roughly. "It's just a regular nosebleed, Nova. We can handle this. You go on ahead." Reluctantly, Nova relented, trusting Silvestri's apparent confidence. "All right, if you think it's best." Tachita and Nova floated off together, leaving Silvestri alone with Jason. Silvestri had effectively distracted Nova, revealing his true intentions. He led Jason into his office, closing the door behind them. Jason's world shifted from white to a vivid green. A laser shined directly into his eyes. After a moment, he saw Professor Silvestri checking the laser device, shaking it in his hand. Silvestri shined the laser in Jason's eye again. Jason's mind became, in a way, ajar, like a door slightly open, waiting to be prompted. He was unaware of his surroundings, seeing, yet unseeing. He didn't move, and he wasn't forming new memories at that moment. Professor Silvestri held up a flash card with a symbol from an age of computers that Jason had never seen. Jason, staring into the void, uttered a single word: "Ready." Silvestri held up flashcards, one by one. "What color is it?" he asked. "Blue," Jason responded. As Silvestri continued, Jason repeated the same answer for each blue flashcard. Silvestri's frustration grew visibly with each response. "What color is it?" Silvestri asked, holding up another card. "Blue," Jason repeated, his voice monotonous. Silvestri muttered under his breath, "Teenagers are stupid, and is probably not even in there properly." "What color is it?" Silvestri asked again, holding up another card. "Blue," Jason said, his tone unchanging. Silvestri's irritation was increasing. "What color is it?" he asked, trying once more. "Blue," Jason replied, unwavering. Silvestri's muttering became more agitated. He persisted despite dwindling odds. "What color is it?" he asked, holding up another card. "Blue," Jason responded again. Finally, one card prompted Jason to say a name: Azure. Professor Silvestri stood up straight, still as a statue. Tachita had returned without Nova and witnessed the moment. "You did it," Tachita said quietly. Silvestri responded, "It's only one part." He and Tachita stared down at Jason, silently contemplating the implications of what had just occurred, implications known only to them. Tachita, meanwhile, recalled her encounter with Nocto and wondered if she should tell Professor Silvestri about it.
Baby, kiss me again.